And let's get this Instagram feed up and running. And there we go. I am Coach James. I am the creator and lead instructor for All About Aerodynamics, which is a science program where I use Hot Wheels cars to teach kindergarten through 6th grade students about a range of science and physics related topics, including but not limited to friction, force, aerodynamics, drag, lift, Isaac Newton and his 3 laws of motion, kinetic energy, potential energy, elastic force, a whole range of topics. After we have covered all of the topics, after we have conducted experiments to drive home those concepts, then and only then do I bring in about 400 different Hot Wheels cars, and each student has the opportunity to select a Hot Wheels car they think would be fastest in a series of races based on everything they've learned in the course. Once they have selected their cars, they examine their cars, they weigh their cars, they test the speed of their cars, they check the year the car was manufactured, the materials the car is made from, all of the information that they can observe, they observe and they document in a spreadsheet. Then, after they've learned the science, conducted the experiments, and chosen their car, the only thing left to do is set up a 1/64th scale quarter-mile drag strip and race the cars. They do that, and then they observe how their cars perform. Did their cars perform up to or below their expectations? And if they had the opportunity, would they select that car again, or would they make a different choice based on everything that they have learned in the course? In the end, we have fun with Hot Wheels cars, and we learn science. What could be better? If you would like more information about our science program, All About Aerodynamics, all you have to do is go to our website, aerodynamics.com, or you can follow us on Instagram, Aerodynamics, and all of the information you need is in the bio, and we can discuss how to bring our program to your school or your organization or your special event. But this is not All About Aerodynamics. This is All About Aerodynamics presents Wind Tunnel Wednesday. So what is Wind Tunnel Wednesday? Well, we happen to have access to the Funtech Labs Windsible, which is a 1/64th scale wind tunnel. So we can take Hot Wheels cars, Matchbox cars, any other 1/64th scale die-cast cars, put them into the wind tunnel, turn it on, and see how the air is flowing over, under, and around those cars. And what it does is it gives us an idea about how much drag will impact those cars when they're racing. When are they racing, you say? Well, every Saturday at 11 a.m. Pacific on YouTube and Twitch, we have AtTheTrack.live. And with AtTheTrack.live, I go into storage and I grab some Hot Wheels cars that haven't yet been opened, crack those open, get my picture, get a little video, do a little review, and then we add those cars to our fleet. And since we've already added the cars to the fleet and we have them out, the track's already set up, we go ahead and race the cars. And we have a little mini tournament to see which of the new cars is the fastest. But wait, there's more. You have the opportunity to participate, and all you have to do is go to AtTheTrack.live. You'll have 3 options. One is the YouTube stream link, one is the Twitch stream link. The third link is the option that says choose your car. If you select that option, you will be taken to this page. And on this page, you will see all of the cars that are currently in the All About Aerodynamics at the Track Live fleet. We are now, excuse me, up to 990 cars. We are just 10 cars away from hitting our milestone of 1,000 cars, and we will see if that 1,000th car will be able to become a champion, become a legend, become an At the Track Live fastest in fleet champion, or if it will just be another car added to the fleet. We have every type and style of Hot Wheels cars. Even if we don't have the exact car you're looking for, we have something close. We have cars modeled after real cars, cars modeled after the designer's imaginations. We have trucks, we have SUVs, we have F1 cars, we have fantasy cars, we have cars from the 70s, 80s, 90s. and the 2000s, and some cars that have just been released in the last few weeks. All you have to do is find the car that you think would be faster than the cars we're introducing, and take the number that's in front of that car. You can click on it. So let's say you think it's this Plymouth Superbird. You can click on that. You can see from the reflection if it is a metal body on a plastic base or a plastic body on a metal base. In some cases, for our older cars, they are metal on metal. Excuse me. And once you find the car that you want to race, all you have to do is take that number, in this case 167, take that, drop it into the chat. Once you do that, I will pull that car, and that car will be added into our, if you do that on Saturday, you'll be added into the tournament to race. If you do it today, then that car will be put in the wind tunnel, and you can take a look at how the air is flowing over, under, and around that car, get an idea about the impact of drag, and then make your decision. Maybe that's not the car that you want to go with, based on what you see out of the wind tunnel. And I'm looking at this Plymouth Superbird because we had a car just this past Saturday that raced. It's a new car in the Hot Wheels line. It is the Hightail Chaser, and it has that big, tall Superbird wing in the back. And it looks like someone did a modern interpretation of the Superbird and kind of gave it a little bit more modern angles and style. It's kind of like they took a Superbird and an Acura and a Ferrari and just kind of mashed them together. But the biggest similarity is that huge wing that it had in the back. Now, it didn't do as well on the track Saturday as I was kind of thinking it would do, but we had some interesting races, and a couple of cars I think in a way got a little bit shortchanged, but these are the cars. So if you find the car that you want, just take that number, drop it in the chat. If you drop it in on Saturday, then I will pull the car and it will be entered into the tournament. If you happen to drop it in today, then I will pull it and we will take a look at it in the wind tunnel and see what the aerodynamic profile is. Hey, Rough Shot, how you doing? So, if your car happens to beat out the other cars in the tournament, then it will get the opportunity to go against our fastest in fleet car, which is and has been for the past month or so. This one, the RD09. It is it is a car that I didn't expect. I thought it would do well, but I didn't expect it necessarily to become our fastest in fleet car. And it has simply performed and won. And this past week especially, I really thought it was going to get knocked out. But turns out, nope, it had no problem defending its title. And despite the back end, which is a little strange for the cars that we run to do well, it's got these 2 points here. There's that wing and this wing. And these 2 points are the only points of contact on the launching block. And when that launching block fires those cars out, usually cars with only small points of contact, they don't always get consistent launches. This car has been the exception to that rule, and it's gotten very good launches. It has stayed straight on the track, and it is our fastest in fleet car. So any car that you beat or pick will need to ultimately try and beat out this car. And because this is our fastest in fleet car, we are going to put this car into the wind tunnel first, because any car that's going to beat it is probably going to need to have a similar aerodynamic profile. And that's just kind of the fact of life, because drag is the most important, most significant force that impacts an object moving through the air, especially as the speed increases. So we're going to take the RD09, we're going to drop it into the wind tunnel, take a look at that aerodynamic profile and just see what it is that kind of makes this car special, what it is that this car has going on that has let it become our fastest in fleet car for the past about 4 weeks or so. This is the RD09. Now, one thing that it does have in common with other cars that have done well is this transition between the hood and the windshield and the roof line is very much a straight kind of angled line. A traditional car obviously would have a windshield that came up at an angle, and that does impede the airflow. The air's going to hit the bumper of this car, come up over the top, and traditionally it would hit the windshield, then have to go up to the roof. And then with those cars, what we see is the airflow breaking away from following the lines of the car right around the top, middle to back portion of the roof. Well, with this car and with the Blitz Speeder, with the Slide Kick, with the Gazella R, cars that have done well, they usually have this low kind of flat angle between the hood and the windshield and the roof, and this one's no exception. It does have this little engine compartment here, but that doesn't seem to be disrupting the airflow too much. So we're going to go ahead and fire up the wind tunnel and take a look and see what we see with this one. And I still have in the larger or the wider smoke nozzles, but you could see right when the air first appeared how it was flowing over the car. And that's usually the best, that's kind of my favorite look, is right when the air when the smoke starts to appear. You can see exactly how it's flowing over the car. And with this one, as we push it up to 134 miles per hour, we're just not seeing any disruption in this airflow, and that's what you want. Because anytime there's like turbulent air, there is going to be drag, and that is going to slow down the cars. It's going to work against the car's forward momentum. So we are at 134. Let's go ahead and push this up. And we see right as the air hits the front at 147 miles per hour, it hits right at that bumper. Most of the air is going up over the top. Some is coming underneath. And there's two things. Because I have the wheel stands here to raise the car up, and because most Hot Wheels cars are flat on the bottom anyway, there really isn't going to be a lot of difference below the car. So that's why I'm not really worried about what we're seeing below the car. It's more so above, because that's where these cars are different. And some cars like this one have better aerodynamic profiles and designs. We're pushing this up to 174 miles per hour, and you're just seeing a clean flow of this air right up over the top. It's not breaking away. Some of the other cars that we may put in, we have at least 2 cars that are designed around actual cars, so we'll probably see more traditional airflow patterns with the air eventually breaking away somewhere along the roof line. But with this one, because this car doesn't have a traditional roof, that air is just hitting and flowing right up over the top. We can push this up to 188. And the only little ripples we're seeing in the air are coming, from the nozzle. It's not, you see these little ripples every few seconds, but this air is hitting, flowing right up over that car, and that open area in the back, you can see that the air is just sort of pouring off the back of the car right down here. And even in the back, we're not seeing as much turbulence as we do with a lot of other cars. This is a pretty clean and smooth flow that we're seeing right here from the RD09. And that is at 188 miles per hour. And that is the RD09, our fastest in fleet car. So if you're going to pick a car that's going to beat out the RD09, you're probably going to want to have a similar aerodynamic profile, because when it comes down to it, you want your car to have an advantage, or at the very least, you want it to be even with the car it's racing. And if one car is minimizing drag to a greater extent than another, then that's going to be a problem for the car that's on the short end of that stick. And we see it all the time when these cars are going down the track, that one car just appears to just be losing steam. It starts slowing down. The other car that can keep its speed up passes it by, and there you have it. So that is the RD09. That's the fastest in fleet car. That is the gold standard. This is the car I was talking about before, the Hightail Chaser, and you can see that it's got that Superbird influence with the that giant shopping cart wing in the back, and then, but if you were to take that off and just kind of start to kind of squint and look at that car, the basic kind of shapes, you can see a little bit of Ferrari, a little bit of Lamborghini, a little bit of Acura in there. And this car, I really thought it would do better, but it did have some serious competition, and we're going to look at those cars as well. But let's go ahead and take this Hightail Chaser, drop this into the wind tunnel, and see what we see. This here. And let me make sure that it is straight in wind tunnel. Looks pretty good. All right. And let's see here. Lock this thing down. Get it fired up. And again, just look for that when that air first starts to appear. You'll see how it's flowing. And there we go, right there. So this air is coming up. There's a bit more of an angle. Well, definitely more of an angle, because the RD09 has no angle between the windshield and the hood. I don't know if when I was talking about that other transition, if I kept calling the hood the roof, but you know what I meant. All right, so let's see. We're up to 147 miles per hour. And this is a pretty, this is a good, this is a good aerodynamic profile, a good, good airflow. I think it's kind of interesting that when the air is hitting the cross part of this wing, it is splitting, and then we're getting a little bit of turbulence, like right behind there. But otherwise, we're at 147. Push this up to 161. And 174 miles per hour. And that is a pretty good airflow. It is breaking off. Yeah, this car, I think, and it all goes to, it comes down to matchups. And we're going to push this up to 188. But this is nice. And I'm also, the other thing I like is that we've gotten back to having the distinct airflows. Maybe the system just was a little clogged, but this is probably the cleanest airflow that we've had in a while. We had air kind of, or smoke kind of leaking through, but right here we've got the very distinct air streams coming out, which is good. But yeah, this is just a good, solid flow right here. There's not a lot of disruption, not a lot of turbulence. It's a little bit, but not too significant. And so what I was saying about the matchups is it really does depend on which car these cars happen to be going up against in any given race, because this car I would have thought would have done better, but it was going up. We had two cars that were really fast, and I believe are still really fast, but just didn't have what it took to get it done. So let's take a look at one of those cars, which I was really impressed with, and I think if it gets another shot, I think it will do very well. It is this one. It is the McMurtry Spiraling. And this car was, I think, when it got to the final race, where it lost, I think it just it's hard to say. The launch that it got was not the best, and I think that it is a smaller car, and with smaller cars you do have the issue that it's possible that they don't get the best launches, that they can bounce around on the track, that they pretty much have to be perfect. When you have bigger cars and wider cars, they have a little room for error, because they're not going to bounce around the track as much if they get a bad launch, and they're a little faster, quicker to correct. This car, we're going to put it in the wind tunnel, but it's one that I hope someone picks again, because I really do think that it was really just kind of bad luck on the launch that prevented this car from really being doing even better on the track than it did. So let's take a look at the McMurtry Spiraling. Drop this here. Hey, Christopher, how you doing? And put this car there. This is a definitely. There were two cars. Usually, when cars race and how they perform, it's pretty clear, that they did what they're going to do. But this is one of this car, and there's one other that raced that I just don't think. I think if you race them 10 times, then 3 or 4 of those times they might get questionable launches. But the times that they don't, those other 6 or 7 times, they're going to be some of the fastest cars you see on the track. And I think it's just a combination of weight, size, design. And let's go ahead. This is at 94 miles per hour. Let's push this up to 121. And we really do see a pretty clean and distinct airflow, right? I mean, there's rippling a little bit, but for the most part, it's pretty clean right here, going up over the top of this car. Let's punch this up a bit. We're up to 147 miles per hour. And we are definitely in a situation with a car that is, we're going to push this up to 161, 174. We're looking at a car that we know did well on the track. Sure, we can kind of move this up over top here. And so the air is coming up over the hood, and then it is hitting that driver's canopy, which kind of has that a bit of a teardrop kind of oval shape, which is good. And you can see that there's air kind of pulling off around the edges there, but then kind of flows into that channel that pushes it right back towards that wing. And that's a good thing. But this is a very interesting car. I'm going to push it off to the side just a little bit because we have, what's unique with this car is these openings right here above the wheel. And most of the time Matchbox cars don't have those openings. Usually the real cars have those openings to direct the airflow, but the Matchbox and Hot Wheels flows just don't. So that is something that's a little unique. I'm going to push this up to 188 miles per hour. Yeah, it is. It's interesting, how aerodynamic they are. And I think even at this small size, we can absolutely see that that the aerodynamics make a difference, and it's part of it's the main reason, aside from the fact that I grew up with them as a kid, that I prefer the flat drag tracks over the gravity tracks, because there's different forces that we're really taking into account. And on our track, a flat drag track, it's absolutely always drag that is going to be the biggest factor. Our launcher shoots these cars out at a higher rate of speed than you get on a gravity track, and the faster an object is moving through the air, the more the air is going to have an impact, and we see it all the time. So let's see here. So we look at this. This car I really want this car to get another shot. The other one that did a pretty good job. It was right there with this one in terms of cars that I thought really, if it hadn't been for a couple issues with the launch, would have done much better, was this one, the Mario Kart without the Mario. I have one somewhere in storage that has the Mario in there, but this one is the Mario Kart minus Mario, and it actually did very well also. And it has that low kind of center of gravity. It had these two exhaust pipes pressed up right against the launching block. Got a good push. There's not really a lot in the way. It's obviously a go-kart, but there's another car in the fleet that Hot Wheels did years ago that is a go-kart, but it doesn't have the regular Hot Wheels wheels. And that's one of the things I always kind of look at with some of these cars, especially the smaller cars. When Hot Wheels makes the smaller cars, sometimes they'll put smaller wheels on there, and they won't be smaller kind of Hot Wheels wheels. They will be smaller, like little disc wheels. And I think that those really, we've never had a car. I think we've maybe had one car do well with those disc wheels, and it was one that Roughshod picked. I think it was the Solar something. That one that kind of looked like a skateboard. That one had the little disc wheels, but other than that, for the most part, those cars don't do well. All right, so Christopher, you're going to go with 17 and 23, and Roughshod, you're going to go with 129 and 203. I'm going to set the Mario Kart in the wind tunnel, and then I'll go grab those cars and we can take a look at those. This is at 134 miles per hour. And I'll push this up. And let me go ahead and grab those cars. I guess I better write it down. And let's see, we're gonna go with car 17, car 23, and then car number, let's see, what was it, 129 and 203. All right, I'm gonna go grab those cars. We look at the Mario Kart in the wind tunnel, and again, I'm just happy that those airflow streams have kind of stabilized and are distinct again once again. Yeah, I'll just call you Socks. Yeah, it's I have to look through my the storage, but I know for a fact I have the one with Mario. So when we find that one, that's definitely a race to have, is the one with the Mario and the one without. And I think, yeah, it's pretty safe to say that the one without Mario would do better. Let me go grab those cars, and then I will be right back, and we'll take a look at those. All right, let's go ahead and wind down this this Mario Kart and take a look. Now this is interesting. We'll look at one of Roughshod's picks that he's considering. And it is this one, this trim truck. And it is a pickup truck, but it's very narrow. And that is definitely an interesting design situation that we haven't really seen that. I don't think so far. Most of the trucks we've had have been pretty standard width. This one very narrow, but the wheels, it's interesting because the wheels appear to be set where they normally would be set on a regular, on any other Hot Wheels car at a normal width. It's just they made the body narrow, so that's kind of interesting. And I don't know that we've had too many cars like this. It looks like, is this an opening? Yep, so there's actually, right here, there's actually a little, that's actually open right there. So on the real car, that would help. You'd be able to direct some air in there, and that's probably what's going to happen when this car races. But what happens after the air goes into that little space right there? It's not huge, so it may not make all that much of a difference. But let's go ahead and throw this in the wind tunnel and take a look at this slim trim truck and see what we see. Switch over here, drop this in, and here we go. With this truck, it's longer, but it's very narrow, so I think that is going to definitely help it in terms of it should help keep the weight down. I like the fact that the wheels are set at the wide width, because if this car were if it was just a skinny car, or truck in this case, if it was just a skinny truck and they had put the wheels, lined them up and made them flush with the body, then it would be a very narrow car, and it would mean that when that, if it got off track even a little bit, it would be much more likely to bounce around the track. Because these wheels are set wide, that means that even though the body is narrow, this truck's not likely to bounce around the track. So it should be able to fly down the track, get pretty good launches. The back end is more or less flat. It is a pickup truck, but the bed is closed. So the trucks that we've seen do well in the past, the Draftnator, we had one that was almost, I guess, about to be picked last week, the Circle Trucker, had the beds of the truck were closed. They were not open, so that prevents air from circulating there and creating any issues for those cars. So this is at 94 miles an hour. Let's push this on up to 134. And I mean, we are seeing, of course, because it's still a truck, with this big frontal area where that brighter white smoke right there, we're seeing it hit and then come up over the top. But again, this airflow is not bad. After it comes off of the roof, we're not seeing it kind of break away here. It's kind of falling back down along the lines of that covered bed and then just tailing off here. So far with these cars that we've had in today, not a lot of turbulence, which is good, which is definitely a good thing. Let's go ahead and push this up to 161 miles per hour. And 174. Yeah, this is going to be a very interesting pick. But then we also have to consider the fact that these wheels are sticking out. So then the air is going to be hitting those wheels, and with most cars, especially the high-end, the supercars, they have little openings. So like kind of the openings that we were talking about with that McMurtry Spiraling, they have openings in different places in order to direct that airflow over, around the wheels, so that doesn't end up kind of slowing this thing down. And is it all metal? Let me take a look and see. So this is that is one that Roughshod is considering. Now, this is interesting because, okay, hang on, we're going to take a look at this other car he's considering. So first let me answer the question of, is this all metal? and it is not. The orange part is metal, and then below that is all plastic. That black part is definitely plastic. So that is one car to consider. But then the other car that Roughshod's considering, very unique, and this is the thing. This is why I love AtTheTrack.live and Wind Tunnel Wednesdays and come up here and do this, because it gives me an opportunity to check out cars that don't get picked by the students and would probably just otherwise just be sitting in the case, just waiting around to be picked. This one is the 2002 Autonomy Concept. And what's interesting about this is, as I was looking on the bottom of the car to see to check out the name, I noticed that it had those little disc wheels, which you can see right here. So it has the disc wheels, and as I said before, we haven't had a car with these disc wheels that has done all that well in the past, other than we've had one. So it is possible. But then, as I was looking at the bottom, I saw right there that it says unlock. And I've never seen that before. It says unlock with an arrow, and it turns out there's a little switch right there. So I pulled this switch, and let's see what happens. Something? Okay. I pulled the switch, and then the car comes apart. I don't know why. Let me get it in focus. That might help. Sort of. Yeah, I don't know why it would come apart like that. I don't see any advantage to anything like that. But that is the case. I think this so this silver part is metal, and this is all plastic. So I don't know why you would just run the sled. The sled part is actually probably so light that it would probably not even make it down the track. But yeah, this is just a little interesting thing that I never knew that this car did. So let me put it back together, and then we can put it in the wind tunnel. If I can, I should have been paying closer attention to how I was taking this thing apart. There we go. All right, let's go ahead and put it in the wind tunnel and take a look. The Autonomy Concept. Interesting. Interesting with those wheels. Interesting with the fact that it detaches. There's been a couple of cars that we have like that. I think that's Solar. Was it the Solar Reflex? I can't remember the name of the car. The one that, or maybe it's Formula Solar. But it was the one that kind of looked like a surfboard, and the green plastic part popped off. Yeah, that metal part, there's definitely some openings there. So let's just see what this looks like. See when the smoke comes in, what we're looking at. Another one with just a clean flow. Push this up to 121 miles per hour. And Christopher's asking, are the cars, plastic or on metal, or metal on plastic that I pick. I haven't. I just grabbed the case, and I'm about to pull those out, so I haven't checked yet. But for the most part, a lot of these Hot Wheels cars seem to be metal on plastic, but it's not always the case. All right, pushing this up to 147 miles per hour. And it's a situation where the aerodynamic profile is good. But then we're also having to worry about, okay, those disc wheels. And we've seen the disc wheels be fine for another car, the Formula Solar, I believe. But that was a much, much lighter car. I think that may have been all plastic or very little metal. This one has a standard kind of Hot Wheels metal body. We're at 161 miles per hour. So a standard Hot Wheels metal body, but... Oh, and there goes the Windsible shutting off. So let's go ahead and fire this right back up. And push this back up to 174 miles per hour. And we're getting a little bit of turbulence off that back end, but nothing that I would say would be problematic. Push this up to 188. And yeah, we are seeing the air kind of pull off here, but it's not really bad. Okay, so Roughshod he's locking in with this concept car, and we'll see how it all plays out. It does have that body style of, it's got a very short hood space, but transitions right to that kind of low windshield, and that windshield to roof transition, which is exactly what we saw with cars like the Blitz Speeder and some of the others that have performed well. So there's definitely something to that. Let's see. So Christopher is looking at car number 17. I think it was. Double checking my paper. 17 and 23. All right, so 17 is... '17 is this one. It's one of the Ferraris. It is the Ferrari 365 GTB. I can't, I'm just trying to read it off of the bottom of the car. And to answer your question, Christopher, this car it's a little older. It is metal on metal. So you can take that into consideration. I haven't seen, but I haven't really looked too hard. I haven't seen the new Ferraris in the stores yet, but I'm pretty sure I'll come across them, because there's no way that Mattel is going to not completely just kind of saturate the market, especially when they've got this new, the new Hot Wheels Ferrari reestablished partnership. So I'm pretty sure that I'll start seeing these around. But let's go ahead and take the Ferrari that we do have, this one, and drop it into the wind tunnel and see what we see. Got this here. Drop it there. Let me move it back a little. And let's make sure that it is lined up properly. It is. And let's see what the Ferrari's got. Nice body lines. I like that. Let's see. Now with that one, we can see right at that roof line where that air is kind of breaking away from the body of the car. But let's go ahead and push the speed up a bit. We're at 107 miles per hour. $121. 134. 147. 'Let's go ahead and push this up a little more. 161. I mean, this really isn't the airflow. It's not bad. It is definitely not bad. And when we compare it to some of the cars we were looking at earlier, it's just slightly worse, but it's not terrible. I'm definitely not seeing anything that's giving me concern. This is at 188 miles per hour. So as the air hits that bumper, comes up over the hood, this long hood, hits the windshield, comes up to the roof line, right about here, you see it's kind of breaking off. It does flow a little bit, but it's definitely not dropping off at that same angle that you see the actual roof line is. So ideally it would be flowing and then follow this roof line down. But you can see right about here, it's just kind of breaking off and falling, here. It's not terrible. It's definitely not terrible. And I think that it really is a matter of matchups. Which car is this car going to go against? But it's also a question of the fact that it's a metal car on a metal base. So metal body, metal base, metal on metal. And that is going to increase the weight definitely. And it is something to consider. So that's the Ferrari. And then the other car that Christopher is considering, definitely one of my favorites here, is the Ford GT40 with the Gulf livery on it. And that orange and that kind of powder blue, that light blue. Great combo there. And I think that also like the copper touches that they put on the wheels. There's a Ford dealership down the street from me, and a few years back they had one of these, the old school version, in the showroom, and I was able to take the Hot Wheels version, this exact Hot Wheels car, over there and put it on the floor and get a cool little video to show the difference in scale. So I started off on the Hot Wheels version and then pulled the camera back, and then it pulled back to reveal the actual car. And I think it's probably somewhere on the Instagram page. If not, I'll have to put it on there. But it was cool to see. There was no way I realized there was no way I could fit in that car, but at least not comfortably. But it was cool to see. All right, 67 miles per hour. Classic Ford GT40. I have so many of these. All they have to do is just put a different color of paint on it, and it's pretty much a guarantee that I'm going to pick one up. I just love the body style on this one. It's just a great design on this car. But we're concerned with how we think it's going to perform on the track, so let's push this on up to 147 miles per hour. Oh, I see. Christopher, he's doing a little, he's doing a Ford versus Ferrari thing here. And what we're seeing is this air is coming up over the top, and it is kind of breaking away right here. Like you can just see how the air is flowing right up over, just like that. And now the Windsible's decided it's had enough. But we're not done. We need to take more. We need to get these speeds up and see a little more, get a little more information, visual information here. So you can tell what it is that we are looking at. And we're up to 174 miles per hour. And yeah, we're just seeing, you can just follow the lines of this airflow. It's hitting the bumper and then just kind of coming up right up over the top, and here it's just breaking away. It's not really following the lines of the car, not as well as what we saw with the high tail chaser, the high tail chaser, and some of the other car, the RD09, of course. And when that airflow, when it breaks away from following along the lines of the body, you're going to get a difference in pressure that's going to work against the forward momentum of the car. There's higher pressure at the front, lower pressure at the back, and that transfer is going to be trying to move from the area of high pressure to the area of low pressure. And it's not all that extreme in this case. Some cars we've definitely seen it's a lot more extreme, but ideally you want that air to flow along and follow the body lines for as long as possible before it breaks off. So let's push this up to 188. And I think as we wind this down, I think Christopher is going to have a choice here. Is he going to go Ford or is he going to go Ferrari? That will be, those are the options there. Ford versus Ferrari, who comes out on top? And let's crack this open here. And we will see what he decides. We definitely have this adjusted. So this car that Roughshod picked, I've been looking at it, and let's go over here. It has openings, which right there you can see. So the air should be able to flow right through to the side panels, and put this here. Stop this. With a lot of these, the supercars, the hypercars, the real world cars, these openings, that air should come through there. And usually what we see is if this is closed up, the air is going to hit the front of the car, and then it's going to flow over, under, or around. But in most of the cases, what we see in the wind tunnel, the air hits that front and then comes up over the top. Well, in this case, since this area is open, that air should enter right here, and then it's open in the back. So then the air should come out the back, and in theory, with that curved kind of teardrop shape, that air really should follow along the lines of the body, right here, this curve, right till it gets to the back. And then when it gets to the back, there's another opening here. So it should enter there and then exit through the back opening. That's in theory how it should work, which means that this car, instead of having a lot of air build up in the front and then having to flow over the top, that air should just hit there, flow right through, curve along this body, hit that this space right here in the back, and then flow right out the back. That's how it should work in theory. I don't know if that's how it will actually play out on the track, but these wheels concern me, because this car is not as light as the Formula Solar, but aerodynamically, when that air passes through that opening, these wheels, because they're so skinny, aren't going to impede the airflow and restrict it as much as they would if they were wider tires, or wider wheels. So this is going to be a very interesting car to see race, and that is going to happen at the Track Live Saturdays at 11 a.m. Pacific. We race cars. I pull out new cars from from storage. We crack those open. Again, if you want to pick a car, what Christopher and Roughshod just did, all you have to do is go to AtTheTrack.live, select the Choose Your Car option. You'll be taken to the page. Scroll through. All of the cars are numbered. Find the car that you want. Take that number. You can send it to me. You can drop it in the chat on race day. You can send it to me in a DM, because like I know and I mentioned that most people end up watching after the fact. They're not watching live. So if you're watching this whenever, go to AtTheTrack.live, select Choose Your Car, go to that page. There are 990 cars to choose from. We are 10 cars away from our 1,000th car, and I settled on the 1,000th car. I was looking through storage, and I have a whole bin of special cars, kind of premium cars. And so I was sorting out the ones, because there's a bunch in there with real riders that we can't use because the rubber wheels create too much friction on the track, and it's just no good. But I found there were other cars that did not have the rubber wheels, and I found the one that is going to definitely be the 1,000th car. And so it should be not this week, but the following week that we get to it, because we usually introduce about 6 cars, so 5 or 6. So if it's 5, definitely next week. If it's 6 this week, definitely next week. So looks like we're gonna get to our 1,000th car a little earlier than expected, which is fine by me. Another car that we should have checked out in the wind tunnel, because it seems like it's only right that it should race. Actually, I guess we can wait till next week to put it in the wind tunnel. Is this one, the Rockin' Santa Sled. This, switch over here to this view. Oh, no, that is that. There it is, the Rockin' Santa Sled. And I'm going to need to look in the grocery store, see if any of these are on the shelves. Because this is another one that has the tabs. And I've pretty much just decided that any of these cars with the tabs that basically make something happen above, I'm gonna have to cut those tabs off. And so this case, the tabs actually make the Santa rock back and forth. That's where the name comes from, the Rockin' Santa sled. So I'm going to clip those tabs off so that this thing can flow freely down the track. And I'm going to see if I can find another one in the grocery store. But I'm about 98% sure I'm going to just clip those tabs off. And we're going to throw Santa in. If not this week, then... well, I guess it would have to be this Saturday. Yeah. Either way, Santa will be racing soon without the tabs, and we're going to see how that all works out and plays out. So, we've got some cars picked, or at least we've got one car picked. Roughshod's definitely going with this one. We'll find out if Christopher is going with the Ford or the Ferrari, and we will have some new cars introduced as we get closer to the 1,000 mark. And yeah, I think we are set up to have some good and interesting races as we get closer to closing out the year. And we will have another Wind Tunnel Wednesday episode on Christmas Eve edition. And maybe, well, that'll be a good time to have the Santa car out. And yeah. More Hot Wheels, more science, more fun. If you want more information about our science program, all about aerodynamics, just go to the website. Follow us on Instagram. All the information you need is in the bio. And I'd be happy to talk to you about the program. So, for Wind Tunnel Wednesday, for AtTheTrack.live, and for All About Aerodynamics, I am Coach James. And until next time, I will see you at the races.